It's very interesting how. Okay, so we all know there is this loneliness pandemic. We know it because everyone is talking about it. They say that mental health is on the crisis. Many young people are feel lonely, they feel isolated, they feel being left out, they feel depressed. And it's why because of the perhaps the COVID, the lockdown, the social media where we have been so connected in digital world where we have pretty much became disconnected in the real world where we are with people but the people don't have us as who we are with our imperfections and ideals and beliefs and so on. And it fascinates me how we know this, yet when I'm walking through the college and like while I'm traveling and talking to my relatives and the people from the younger generations, everything seems fine. There is no problem in our life. I don't have Instagram, but I believe that if you go there, you'll see many people living awesome lives, sharing awesome pictures of how their lives is just fine. Yet there is this loneliness and yet there is yet there is this loneliness pandemic. So what is happening? I think we are faking it. I think we are faking everything is fine, while deep down when we are alone in our rooms, we are feeling, oh, I'm so desperate, oh, I'm so lonely, I'm so insecure, and all of this. I don't know why people do that. What is the motivation behind it? But it really inspired me to do a small experiment. So I was thinking that if what I feel is what majority of the fields, because the loneliness pandemic is across most of the young people, and because I am one of those young people, it means whatever I feel is what other people feel. And if I will do what everyone else is doing, then, well, I can see the results of that, which is nothing and will happen. Because I'll be just locked in my room, hoping for someone to come to save me, hoping to someone give me the physical contact, the words of affirmation, and so on. So I decided to do a small experiment. I decided to become someone I needed, but who never came to save me. Or you can rephrase it as you want. The point of that was to find out what are the things I'm so desperate to have and give it to others. So I was thinking, what are the things that when I'm lying in bed, just thinking and recording and going through again and again and again, and what was it? That I feel alone, of course, but if I have to be more specific, that I am desperate for physical touch and having like this touch of like this connection that there is a physical human being that is acknowledging me and that is with me, uh, being seen by trying to express myself. For example, when I have tried to match the colors of my shirt and my trousers and my socks and like all of like these small details where I try to look good, to have someone who will see that, who will see myself trying to pop out and be seen by others, being acknowledged by that, and maybe praised for it. So I decided to do this. And the way I was doing it was, instead of being locked in my head and thinking of how lonely I am, how I'm so desperate for human contact, I switch it and I was thinking with whom I can create a contact, with whom I can give the physical, the verbal affirmation, the with whom I can make these connections. And I was running around the campus. I was talking to different people, and the results were that even today, when I stopped for a moment and looked back what I just did, there were so many people who I created a relationship with. But it wasn't the relationship as just like talking about generic things about how was the weather, what are your hobbies, and like these things like that, which I'm not saying are bad. Small talk has its benefits, but with people with whom I have had a very deeper and personal conversations about their insecurities, about their dreams, about their problems in life, about their relationships, about their family situations, which I won't be going into details, but like, if you know, you know. And all of that was because I became first interested in their stories because I wanted to know who they are and try to give them these affirmations. For example, when I was going next to a person I who saw me as like a friend, I would say, and we had a good conversations and we felt good about each other, I would just like bump it like stop and just went along. And I was varying this, meaning that when I was with boys and my fellow men, then I was doing this if I go to the physical affirmations or like the forms of connection or interactions. I was trying to make it feel powerful and strong. When, for example, when I was doing a handshake, I was like firmly taking their head, not like squeezing and breaking their knuckles, but just giving them like the sense of strength. When I was, for example, patting them, I was just like, doing this. Not the heart till it's painful, but like heart like you feel it like move with you. In a playful way, of course, like not like hurting them and so on. And when it comes to the girls, what I was doing was doing again, I was looking for opportunities to make a physical contact and a physical affirmation of I am aware of you and I feel comfortable when I'm with you. And but with them it was different. With them it was more about doing a if I was bumping them, it wasn't like this powerful, they would just like fall. And no, it was more as a gentle, friendly, warm. It's hard to describe it like in details or like what was like. Uh, I'm not thinking about like what is the perfect amount of force I have to put into the pressure point in order to like no, it was more like I have this idea of what kind of feeling I want to give them, and I was trying to give them give it to them. For example, with men it was more as a empowering and powerful, strong, firm, and with women it was more gentle, it was more playful, it was more warm. It was more warm. And there were so many situations where I was just walking across a hallway and I was like seeing five of my classmates and people from different parts of the campus, and we're just like, when they were men, we were just shaking hands like from like, "Sup, what's up?" We are doing the dabs, we are doing all kinds of crazy things, and when I was with going next to uh, a section or parts of the hallway where there were groups of girls and women, I was where either they started to hug me, either I was just bumping them and I was just like complimenting their look out because I saw how they were trying to put some different like details and like okay, I'm going like I'm a bit of over the place, but the point is the same. The point is that I use my loneliness, I use my own insecurities as a way to connect with others. Because if I think about it, if what I feel is what others feel, meaning that if I give people the thing I want to have, I know what kind of feeling it would give them. So, therefore, I use my own experience to create an empathy and give them the physical and verbal forms of affirmation. And in the result, which was a bit of magical, it also seeing them being happy, seeing them saying, "Oh, thank you," like it was nice of you that you, oh, it's awesome that you noticed it. Um, and it was, yeah, thanks, bro, like, thank you, and so on. It started to reflect, and this need for having this was like returned. It wasn't the same way as if they would have done that to me, but by giving them the thing I needed, I needed, I wanted, by giving it to them, their reaction is what partially like as like bounce it back and give it back to me. And I think there is a hope. Shocker, I know. I think there is a hope that, and I think this is one of our biggest advantages, that we don't need a world crisis as like in terms of war, millions of people dying, diseases, illnesses in order to be connected. What we can use to connect is our own loneliness. And our generation has the advantage that the other generations, well, maybe they had, but not in these global settings where we can create relationships across the whole continents, the entire continents. So, if you are watching this and you feel lonely, it's good. It's awesome. Because if you feel lonely, you know how it feels. You have that experience of what everyone else is going through, meaning that you know what those people need. And by becoming the person you needed but never had by becoming the one who didn't came to save you, if you decide to help others, therefore, for them, you become that person who is there to save them. But this will only work if you decide to give before you take. This can only happen if you decide, instead of asking help, you give it to other people. And if we take this idea and if we like scale it to a size of people in your classroom, the size of the entire cinema, or the size of entire football field, if we do what we have done so far, which is I feel alone, I feel isolated, so I'll go to my room, play video games all night, doom scroll on social media, try to escape the reality, and hope that someone comes to save me. Well, if we do this and scale it to the size of that football field, well, I guess the result is the world pandemic, the world loneliness pandemic. But if we try to do it and scale it the other way, by becoming the person we needed but never came, if I feel lonely, if I feel sad, and I use this as in order to give the other person, because I can hug that other person. I cannot hug myself. I don't, it doesn't make the same difference, but I can hug someone else. I cannot bump someone. I cannot do a dab and like make like it cannot empower me unless there is someone else who is doing it with me. So if I'll try to do this, if I'll compliment someone on their looks, if I compliment on their effort, on their accomplishments, about something that makes them them, then it gets reflected back if they appreciate it, if they are fine with it, then by that it is reflected back, meaning that if one person does it, if the entire classroom does it, if the entire cinema does it, if the entire football film does it, if the entire football field will start to hug each other, if they will start to, firmly doing the handshakes, if they will start to complimenting with each other, if they start to acknowledging the person who they are, despite their flaws, and still be willing to accept them as who they are, boy, what a wonderful world it will be. So, again, if you feel lonely, if you feel sad, if you feel desperate, good. Now you know what other people feel, and you can use this to connect with them. So, here is my wisdom and my experience, my knowledge, my story, and I encourage you to practice it. The next time you will walk next to your classmates, even if there are people who you know, or if there are even people who you don't know yet, they are strangers, but they are someone who you would like to know a bit more. Give. Give people what you think they need, and don't ask anything in return. Because if you ask and if you expect something in return, you are creating expectations that cannot be met. Therefore, once they reflect that gratitude for your gift and for your honesty, it won't fulfill you because it won't go as much as your expectations. But if you give it to them without expecting anything, even the smallest smile, even the smallest words as thank you, will make you feel what they feel. It will become shared. Shared happiness doubles, shared pain divides. Meaning that if what you, if there is something that makes you feel happy, if you share it, as long as the other person will acknowledge it, it will doubles. Some people may not, some people like, people are people, you know, we need to be patient, we need to be tolerant. But remember that people are people and we need time. We need time to realize that there is still hope and that it never left us. So, thank you for staying all the way till the end. Have a nice rest of the day. And remember that loneliness can be good if you use it to connect with other people. Live to share and share to live.